Okay, now it works. We are live, 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 live. Um, Hopefully, I get everybody back, and we'll continue off from the last live session, right? Uh, as I wait for everybody to come back live. We're live, baby, live. This is such a trip, man. Such a trip. Hey guys, what's up? What's up? Where in the world are you anyway? What time is it where you are? What time is it where you are? Let me see. Mm, okay. Mm, all right. We're live, baby. What time is it where you are? What time is it? Lola. Yeah, I think I was having a few technical problems this side. I'm very sorry. Ah, awesome. Uh, okay. So, can we pick it up where we left off, Lola? I think if you allow me, I think we're having quite an interesting conversation. How old did you say you were? You're like 45, 47? All right. I, you are, I 47. Oh, great. You are right in saying, I think the one thing that I've always known about myself is uh, Central. I've always been kind of smart. The one thing that what could have been for me has always been I I don't know what it is like to have a dad, right? Just a father who's present in your life. Every time it has taken me like a year to learn a lesson, I I wonder to myself like, oh, if I had somebody in front of me who was there to share these lessons with me, maybe I could have gotten it sooner. That's why I've been at this crossroad, this metaphorical crossroad for so long, because I don't know how to treat a woman, how to raise a kid, you know, and I've all these theories. You're building the bridge as you cross it. Oh, ah, I love, 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 love. You know, I have that kind of friend who cuts right to the point like you, Lola. I just love it. I love it. People who know economy of words and it's so poignant, so succinct. I love it. As I cross it, it has to be built. Dave Chappelle, the great philosopher Dave Chappelle talks about it a lot. That I don't know if it's his grandfather or is his father, his grandfather, you know, built a way. It's not always what you leave for your children, material wise. It's like, okay, son, daughter, I've really done this. I've tried it this way. I've done it this way. I think they say Floyd Mayweather is great because of that. His uncle was a boxer. His father was a boxer, and they all came together to train him. So he didn't go down some pitfalls because he had those structures around him, right? And it's excruciating, but as well it's challenging. And I love a good challenge. I love a good challenge. I can be tiring in that way that I'm up for a good challenge. Right. So you'll find that I have very little time for ignorant, neglectful parents. You know, I find it so hard to understand. Yeah, that led to you very much. Oh my God. Yes, I find it so very hard to even put myself in your shoes. My strange father told me the greatest inheritance he can give me, and she has. I think so. I think so. I had a similar so survive horrific things. Oh my goodness. I think so. I really think so. I think that goes unweighed in terms of inheritance. You have everything you need inside of you. Oh my God. I think I'm starting to appreciate that. I'm starting to look at that in terms of like I'm still gathering info, but I'm now looking inside of me to use already what I have. I think the Christian faith teaches that. I think uh, Darwinism teaches that. Like as big as the dinosaurs are, you have to adapt. You have to use what you have. I think that's one of the greatest lessons ever. You cannot use what you don't have. As practical as that sounds, uh, as mediocre as it sounds, but it's very true. You really, the trick is and always has been use what you have, what's inside of you, and so forth. But I understand if you had this with you be further. That's true and cannot be denied. Yeah, not even further, but in terms of like being a well-rounded person, I've had these glaring blind spots. Glaring. Like I'm saying, I went to school back home, never used to go out or anything. And I, you would assume that I'm a good person. I've been trying to redefine what a good person is. They say a good king, a good ruler, is the one that saves for the drought years, is the one that could order his soldiers to go in, rape, pillage, do whatever. But he doesn't. He forgives, he does. So a good person is the one that can do extreme harm but chooses not to. But we can mistake a person who doesn't do any harm because he hadn't had the opportunity to do harm for a good person. But once that person is put in a position where they can really do harm, they can really, really do harm. So I think for the longest time, I've thought of myself as a good person in that way that I haven't harmed anybody. But it's like taking control of a pure breed racehorse, right? It takes skill, it takes a bit of time in order to cajole, to control, right? To control the power, to know that no, now you're going overboard. Now, so I think that's where I could have used the help. You know, the greatest battles are the ones that can be avoided. Yes, yes. All right, red, blue. Yes. The whole thing of when somebody confronts you to run away, go away. right? Fight only when it's absolutely necessary. Those little things, those things are crucial. So that's why I don't have any time for absentee parentism, right? That's why I love what Will Smith was saying about his wife. Like every time you come and you want to give only 10% of your best, and your wife says, "No, not here, buddy. No, 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 no." That's what I need in a partner. Like, but the best lessons learned are taught the hard way. Yeah. Unfortunately, unfortunately, Lola, that's what I kind of need from a good partner. Like I'm saying, I think I could eke out a good life for myself. I could challenge myself, find joy in all the right places, travel a bit, do all those things, you know. But in a partner, I need them to remind me while we are still on the journey, like, okay, remember why we're here. Remember, 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 remember. Every time I'm feeling out of it, or when we have kids and I'm feeling like, not feeling it, and they're like on me, like, no, not today, partner. Get up, get up, get up. That's right, a lesson learned, a mistake made. So all these things were when young girls who are substantially younger than me. I think even my mom, my little cousin, just got to college and he impregnated a girl, and then the mom to the cousin, my own mom, was like, "No, now he'll grow up. You'll know his responsibility." I was like, oh, oh, no, 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 no. Child is a blessing, all of that, but man, I believe what Oprah was saying, that you really, really have to get in there, and kids can't be raising kids. It's hard enough as it is, right? It's really, really tough. I don't like it one bit. I don't like I don't like these situations where society gets to hit like on your pregnancy pictures of a 18, 21-year-old unmarried, all those things. I like what Jordan Peterson was saying, that the marriage is the best platform we have so far. Marriage is the best platform we have so far for raising kids. It's not for marriage, is not necessarily for the two adults. Django Fett, what's the help, Django? So I'm of that kind of radical belief as well, that I didn't grow up in a household where there was marriage. I don't know what it looks like. I only visited my cousins. My uncles were married, but I would love to have kids in a marriage situation rather than out of wedlock. It's not really pleasant going to school. You hear other kids say, "My daddy this, my daddy that," and start lying or pretending and stuff like that. I wouldn't want my children to go through that, you know. So I I've had a hard time juggling those things, juggling those thoughts in my head and my mind of how best to go about it so that I don't screw it up. Right? How do you fight with your partner in a way that you don't use nuclear bombs, right? And screw it up without realizing that you're screwing up a good thing for yourself, right? Will Smith said it best. He's like, marriage is a commitment to yourself to always be improving yourself so that you give your best to your partner. I think that could be said about friendships, that could be said about your work, could be said everything about life. And it's hard, you know. That's why I need those kind of things around me to always remind when you don't feel like waking up in the morning, feel tired, my head is aching, and somebody finds a way to remind you of that, those small increments to always try to get better, right? It doesn't matter if you're 10, 20, 50, 80, you can always get a little bit of that increment, right? I don't know how to argue with you. Asking him, I say I got broken up. One of the reasons I've heard for years that I would use an Uzi on a butterfly. Overkill. Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't need to. If I love you, and you're my girlfriend, I don't need to break up with you 10 times over 2 years so that I finally get to the point where I'm like, okay, this is really the person for me. Maybe I need to, as fate wills it. But I think if I had that respectable father figure in front of me when I'm going through things, he can help me process it better rather than there's this funny story. Uh, yep, okay. I used to be that way. I didn't know better. I was self. Yeah, there's this funny story. My uncle, when he was alive, one of my heroes, my childhood heroes, uh, he was advising my cousin. My cousin had just gotten married. You don't fight. That's why he's diffuse the situation. Tell them to talk to you when they are calm. Be cool and calculated. At least that works for me. I heard that that's what Will Smith says. He says he goes for a walk so that they don't have those heated arguments. I'm like, but that's the time when I really need to talk to you. When I'm heated, I need you to hear what I have to say. But apparently, that's you need to go and hire that and completely disassociate. Now it seems like you don't care. You don't want to hear the person when they really need to reach you. Ah, my uncle was advising my young cousin. My young cousin had just gotten married. Well, my cousin was young then. He's older than me. Had just gotten married, and he was complaining to my uncle like, "Oh man, my wife. I wake up with my wife every morning in bed, and she doesn't talk to me." I did 5 years of therapy. It was the best investment I ever made. To address those blind spots. Oh, I need to look at them every 2 weeks. I need to look at those blind spots. But I don't need a terrible therapist either. I went to engineering school. I did Bachelor of Science first year university, and then electrical engineering second year. Started specializing. Some of the people I did year one with, some of the dullest people ever who went into medicine. I was like, dude, if I go into the doctor's room and I find you in there, I'm going straight out. I really don't like terrible people. Yeah, very fortunate, very fortunate. So my uncle was like, my cousin was like, my wife doesn't talk to me. She just sleeps next to me. It's been going on for about 2 weeks now. Apparently, what my uncle did was just laugh, laugh, laugh. He was like, "You see, my wife." My uncle pointed to his wife. She hasn't spoken to me in 3 months. You're talking about only 2 weeks. Don't worry. Don't worry. Right? How do you, Angelo? What's up, Angelo? How do you not? in your youthful exuberance, blow up something that is good for you. If I'm with somebody for 2 weeks and they don't want to speak to me, I'm like, okay, this is not going well. Why keep doing this to myself? Oh, wonderful, Angelo. Wonderful. Wonderful. Hi, welcome to the party. So, those are the kind of things that I think a good, I like that comment. Crossing, building the bridge while you cross it. Liberty and the pursuit of happiness. Yeah. You know, so how do you go about it? When the system gives you this feedback and you just wanna bazooka the butterfly, like my friend Lola is saying, just the system is giving you this and you really wanna go at it. And you need somebody around you to say, think about it this way. Have you considered this way? You know, that's why I have no tolerance for baby mama, baby daddy drama around children. Right? I think even if you don't have the money to support, you need to come clean with those things early on and focus on what you do have for that child and try to support. I heard somebody say human kids need support the most of all creatures of nature, horses, ducks, whatever. They suckle on their mom only for a bit and then they are all foraging for themselves. Human children need at least 18 years, if at least, at the very least, if the parents are doing a very good job. I could see the truth of things and I knew who I was and what was possible. But here's what nearly got me. Here's what almost took me out. You can't do that to me. I wasn't believing and seeing the truth of things. It was the tiredness. It took so much energy. I actually have a hypothesis on that. If I could interject, please tell me more, Lola. Please tell me more. I'm eager to hear what you say. Building the bridge and crossing it at the same time. Oh, I actually have a hypothesis. I was listening to Brad Weinstein saying that there's a difference between a theory and a hypothesis. My I'm a huge Elon Musk fan, and I'm big into self-determination, business, entrepreneurship, all those things. You know, thinking for yourself, self-education, all those things, free thinking. So I think not enough is being said about surviving, like, I'm reaching for a word here. I'm gonna go. I'll drop in on your next live stream. All right, Django. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Not enough is being said about. Sometimes I feel like hurting myself, and I think I'm psychic because I see the pain. Please explain that, Angelo. Please explain that a bit. Not enough is being said about withstanding those pressures. You know how a runner, you build up lactic acid and there's so much pain while you are running. You have to manage that pain. Not enough is being said about that in today's society. You attrition. That's the word I was looking for. Attrition. How you go against when you hit that brick wall. You have to keep going, even though not enough is being said about that in terms of entrepreneurship, going after your dreams, and just living life in general. So when you're talking about tiredness, Lola, while constantly building that bridge as you cross it, constantly building it for yourself and making it a way for your family, your children, everything, your friends. Attrition is the word, right? I not enough is being said about withstanding that every day. Just small corrosions at you every single day. Not enough is being said about how you can be able to withstand that, and how, in order to build a successful life, you need that in particular. I think that's what Elon Musk was saying, that he almost sold Tesla to Apple. Those long, tough nights, and you can't see your way through, but you still keep going. You still keep going, like what you're saying, Lola, going on faith, on exhaust fumes, like on fumes. The fuel was it's long gone, years ago. That's what I mean when I say us as young people, we really need our fathers, we need our moms, you know, just to tell us those kinds of stories that, I've been through it. I've really been through it. Hang in there, hang in there. Because I'd sooner, just as I was saying, that I broke up with the girl that I love 5 times or something, right? But every battle, every victory, it costs so much energy. Hong Kong ball, please say happy birthday to Nick. All right, happy birthday, Nick. Happy birthday. You're going to high school and you're afraid. What are you afraid of, Angelo? I love Lola. I just made a new friend, Lola. Uh, I was talking to a friend of mine, the same friend who you're telling me she's wrong for thinking that I will make, uh, I'll, I'll trample all over my girlfriend. That same friend, I was telling her that, in the course of any relationship, you fight the fight, uh, they ring the bell, they raise your hand, you get the victory belt, the crowd cheers, but it costs. Yeah, it shouldn't cost so much. And over time, it really wears you down. This is why. So I was talking to my friend, like I was saying, and she was telling me she was in this relationship with this other guy. So let me try to quote her. She's like, "Have you ever had a conversation with somebody and you're talking about random things, and the way you guys are talking, you're like, oh my god, this person could really be my friend for life, right? Oh my god, I love everything, that the perspective, everything about this person. And then there's the opposite one, when you're maybe in a relationship with your boyfriend and you're busy with life things, and your boyfriend says something, right? And you're like, what on earth would you make you say something like that? And it's just a mental note right then that says, I don't think this is the right person I need to be with. Right? We were talking a bit. We didn't continue the conversation. I kept asking her, like, yeah, I know that feeling. I think I've had it. Like, when you like somebody, you're pursuing them, it's going great, and that person just said just one little thing, and you're like, no, 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 no. But somehow you don't end that relationship there. You keep going, like for a couple more months. Like, why? Why are you staying? Why are you staying? I just had that moment with Lola. Lola's, as we are talking, I'm like, oh my goodness, we could be really good friends. I just love how you are articulating some of your points of views. The words, I'm such a wordy. I I love these words. I love attrition. I love the expressions, building the bridges. Oh, as you cross it, I just love certain things, and I'm like, oh, okay, this could be my person, right? So I I love. I've learned so much about myself in my business pursuits. I went to engineering school. I've tried so many things business wise, lost so much money, and driven to a point of near insanity. Like, I can't figure it out. I thought I was smart, right? And I come out of the whole process like having gone through attrition, like in a short period of time, in a short condensed period of time, so much attrition. And I come out of it with so many lessons that I'm trying to apply even to my personal life. Like what you're saying, Lola, about every cost, every victory costing you. The victory costs, the losses costs, everything costs, right? And I feel we we hold doctors to such a high regard, and they were literally crying all over the world, like the things we are seeing, death every day, death every day. This is not good, right? So even the smart kid choosing to be a doctor, choosing to pursue medicine, I feel sometimes you need to make decisions based on the underhand, based on the negatives of it all. Okay, you could be a doctor, get a good salary, good life, good social standing, but what about the negative side? Right? If you, I think Barack Obama said it best at one point. He says, if decisions are at his desk, it's because so many people lower down the chain couldn't make up couldn't make the decision, couldn't make the choice, right? So it keeps going higher and higher and higher and higher. And what we hear from the media, oh, Barack Obama did this, it's so terrible. You don't know that option number two was worse, way worse. He said his job was often choosing the lesser of two evils. Okay, we have to do this. Drone strikes instead of sending in the army. Oh my God, this. It's like always choosing based on only the negatives. The positives, okay, will take care of themselves. But what about the negatives? Right? So even kids going into the army, it's like, oh, nobody's looking forward to the PTSD, right? But it's a real thing. Why would you? Is that something that you really want to wrestle with in your life, right? So maybe become uh, a security guard at the local supermarket instead of going into the army. because going against PTSD will really, really challenge your life. Really challenge your life. But guess what? The security guard is not held to the same standard as the soldier, right? So I find it very, very difficult. Yeah, I find it very, very difficult. I think some of these decisions we make, we only look at positive aspects. We don't look at the negative side of it all. Like, this could really, really wreck your life for the next 10, 20 years. Just one deployment to the Middle East and coming back, you'll never be the same. Right. So, yeah. So I've wrestled with these things, and for a long time I felt it was so unfair that I'm so alone. My mom was discovering herself out there. She had me when she was what, 21, 2021 or something, and it's been a trip unto itself. My dad, never seen him in my life. You know, uh, it's not been easy, right? And then my girlfriend, here she comes, trampling all over my landmines. I didn't know that. I, I've looked at both sides in my life. Between you and me, I cut my whole family off. I can say, I can honestly say, without even knowing anything about that situation, I can understand. It's been 6 years. Whoa, Lola. Oh, oh, right. It, it really, we all have to. The only thing harder than burying the dead is burying the living. Oh my God, Lola. Oh my God. Oh my God. Here's you doing the word thing again. Oh my God. I think you're so right. That's basically you're dead to me. But oh my God, Lola. I'm falling in love. I'm so sorry. I'm a business person too, and I've taken so many lessons from business into my personal life. And that whole attrition, going against friction thing in business taught me a lot about myself. And I launched a film 12 years ago. Oh my God. Oh my God, Lola. Mm. Oh my God. I can't wait to talk to you. Well, we're talking, but I can't wait to have this format where I could just listen to you talk. I, I think business is a battleground that is really focused. You can live in a business in 1 year. You can live 10 years in normal life. What you go through in 1 year in a business, a normal person who just is an employee would take 10 years to learn some of those things and unravel those things. So I love that. I love that. I love self-determination. I love all those things. Oh my God. So yeah, the only thing harder than burying the dead is burying the living. Oh my goodness. It's gonna take me a minute. Uh, I'm gonna I'm gonna be telling my friends about Lola when I meet them. I'm like, oh, I met this other lady, Lola, and I'm learning a lot just from interacting with her. It's good to meet people. When you hit a tennis ball, they can hit it back, and they really, really lived it. Right? Really, really lived it. See, so Baltimore, welfare, violence, abuse, wonderful ride to a private boarding school, went on to a prestigious undergrad varsity. I did grad school in the Ivy League. Do what you have to do to survive. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm completely in love. I, I I really do think people don't give enough credit to just surviving. All these thrive, whatever. Yeah, right. Thrive can come, but surviving is so vital. I think it's Darwinism. I think it's right there in Christianity. It's just that the Bible's written in these words that were used so many years ago. Right. You listen to Tiffany Haddish's story, rape. Oh, been through it all, and she's carrying around smiling and laughing and making everybody laugh. And I, I don't find her to be the best comedian, but I love her story. Yeah, but she's standing up after everything that has been happening to you. I think that's one of humanity's most unsung thing. Like, after everything that could ever happen to you, to find you still standing, that is heroic. That is heroic. It's like Nehemiah building that wall. They cursed him and threw him, but he kept building. Now, when they hopped up and tried to stop him from building, he drew his sword. Nobody said there won't be insults. Nobody said it won't be hard. But when people jump up, try to cut you off, so you need to pull out your sword and start cut. Yeah. Oh my God. Can I ask? Do you have kids, Lola? I would love. I would love to have had some of these lessons as a young kid. And I think we are doing a lot of these kids a lot of disservice by not telling them the truth. No, no children. Okay. I think kids should just be told the truth. It's one thing to think you're smart and all these things, and to go out into the harsh cold and find out that you are way off. Things don't work the way you think at all. At all, at all, at all. Right? And now you have to learn new skills in order to survive the cold weather out there. Right? I never wanted to be a mom until my inner work was done. I was a foster parent, though. I agree with you. Oh, Lola, we're going to be really good friends. I'm so sorry if I'm jumping ahead. I'm very sorry. But I relate to so much that you're saying. And don't even get me started about the foster system. You know, I think some of these things were made to work for only a few people when society was starting up. Thank you for saying that. I think when society is starting up and there are only three outliers out there, the government can take care of them, you know. But then when there are way too many children that the government has to take care of, it becomes a breeding ground for terrible, terrible things. A system that was built to handle five people shouldn't be there to handle too many people. When I look at and listen to you, I have zero doubts about your future. Yeah, I, I hear what you're saying, Lola, and I applied to me. I applied to everybody else that I know. I would hate for my life to be over tomorrow, and when I meet my maker, and it was like you never even were close. You never got it. It's that whole thing of the gifts, the the talents. You know, you're given something. One person hid it, the other tried to grow it. All these things. It's uh, I'm a terrible Christian. I'm sorry if I'm paraphrasing terribly. Right? It's like you never got it, so you got so scared of your master, and you just stood in one place. You never got it, so you were never in the game, right? I got a 6 year girl. I was her third placement. I physically abused her in the first hostel. I sexually abused her in the second. I was supposed to have her temporarily for a weekend. I had her for a year. Oh man. Oh man. That's so touching. Oh, that's that's so touching. You know, I thought about those kinds of things for a long time. You know, I thought about those things for a bit. I, what gave me the courage to walk away from my toxic family. Oh man, I listened to this guy Jordan Peterson. I've listened to a lot of his videos, and he says one of the best ways to study history is to put yourself in the shoes of those people in the past, right? When you are reading about Nazi Germany, think about it. Would you really be one of those people giving shelter to the Jews? And when I hear your kindness, open yourself, your home to to a little girl, like would you think about it? Really think about it. Wait, would you, at your own cost, give shelter to somebody who's in trouble? Like, would you, withstanding the fear that if people found out, that could be the end of you, right? Are you a good person? Everybody reads Nazi history as in those people are terrible people, yada, yada, yada. You know, they're seen as those people. Jordan says you should really uh, let it sink into your system. Don't be scared for I believe life itself has little meaning other than of it. If you stand in one place for years doing little, you seem a wretched them. So even if you were a Nazi soldier, just a good person, just a Nazi policeman in Poland, a Nazi soldier, and your boss is saying go do something atrocious, would you quit right then and there to this extent? Then you have achieved the meaning of life. There's something to that. Google chromosome. There's really something to that. So whenever you have power over somebody, For it is given meaning, but for others it is found. I love these conversations. I think it's going to take me a while to really unpack everything to the fullest. Well, I wanted to die. I knew a man. He said, the more love you give, brother. I've listened to you, Harris. You Pacific. Thank you and good night. All right, Google. All right. I think so, Lola. I think that's why I was thinking in terms of relationships, in terms of friendships, in terms of all these things. It's not just that your partner, your student didn't perform well. It's also that you yourself didn't inspire them to give their best. So it's about you giving something and knowing that you've given all you could to that situation and to inspire that person to give back. So the more love you give, the more of anything that you give, the more you really get back. Right? Oh my God. You're great, Lola. So that's why I'm saying for a long time I thought I was a good guy, but then now I I know I am. When you know the kind of devastation you can bring and you choose not to. Jeff Bezos says it like, don't be proud of your gifts, be proud of your choices. Like, you have nothing to do with your gifts, you're just given your gifts. Your gifts are just given. Don't be proud of your gifts, be proud of the choices you make. When you know you can bring absolute devastation or absolute horror and you can't, and you don't, rather, that's when you know you're a good person. So when you learn martial arts and somebody comes as a jerk to you, does all these things, and you could absolutely take him out, but you don't, that's a good guy. The thin, frail guy who never hurts anybody, that's not a good guy. A good king is a king that fully knows who he is and can fully bring destruction upon you, but chooses not to. Right? I fasted because I was broken and didn't know what to do with the pain. I was broken from trying to bring broken people along. They couldn't tolerate healthy behavior. I found courage. Oh my goodness. I can relate to that, Lola. To take on so much responsibility on your back. I have a good joke on that. Did I hear TD Jake say it or something? He says, uh, even Jesus Christ didn't go into the cave to get Lazarus. He just stood outside, like, Lazarus, get up, get up. Sometimes when you're helping people, you just need to be by the door and shut them out. If they're not ready to come out, it's for them to figure it out. You don't have to go in there, handle stink, handle all those terrible things. That's You don't need to. Just stay by the door. Hey, you need some help? Come here. Come here. I'll help you out. Come here. If they're not ready, no. Don't go handle dead bodies. There's no need. Even Jesus didn't do it. Why would you think you are able to do it? So I found it very interesting. I found it very funny. So next time you want to help somebody, yeah, too much stank, way too much. Next time you want to help somebody, just stay by the door. Like, oh, so, I, but the trick also is to have those alarm bells, those trip wires in your head, such that when you find yourself handling stank when you find yourself handling stank, you can let it go. What am I gonna do about the girl? Ah, you're laughing. Ah, what am I gonna do? You know, I think one of the things that I've noticed about myself is I try not to lie. I use those words uh, on purpose, purposefully. I try not to lie. And I try to communicate with her all the things that go through my mind. And sometimes I feel disappointed about what she throws back at me, right? Because I'm kind of cerebral. I think way too much, and maybe that's another problem I have. I, I tend to involve my mind in issues of the heart or something. So I think I think I try to be honest with her every single little feeling. Like, okay, this is what I'm thinking. This is what we can do. Yada yada yada. I'm not planning on having kids right now. I think one of the driving forces I've always had was like, okay, I can't wait to have children so that I rectify every single little stupid mistake that was done, every little pain that I had. My kids are not going to feel it. I think it was this year that I was like, oh my goodness, I think I'm foregoing so much in anticipation for these kids that are not even here that I plan on having, such that I can judge a girl if she's going to be a good mom to my kids and judge her so harshly and end up letting go of that relationship because I don't think she would do a great job, whatever that means. And so very judgmental. And I don't know if you know the story of Quasimodo. Larry David has this great joke about Quasimodo. Apparently, some of the ugliest people in the world are so picky when it comes to picking a girl, like somebody that they're gonna end up with. A friend of Quasimodo would come to Quasi like, Quasi, there's this nice girl at the office. You should go out on a date. Larry David is funny. There's this nice girl at the office. No, is she pretty? Is she a 9 out of 10? Is she a 10 out of 10? Like, Quasi, you're hideous. What are you doing? She's a good girl. She's fine. Like, no, I'll only settle for Esmeralda. Did he end up with Esmeralda? The previous girl in Paris. Right. I think the way I grew up so harmed me, so touched me. But just like Oprah did, she said it was either the career or she understood. She says she understood what it means to be a parent, what a full time occupation it is. And her calling career wise was so great that if she were to become a parent, she wasn't going to do either of them great while trying to pursue both. I think I take parenting so seriously to the detriment of everything else. Right. And I've been waiting and waiting and waiting to become a parent, looking for a partner. And now I'm like, oh my goodness, let me push away this Oh, the closest she came was the girls' school. Yeah, in South Africa. Yeah, yeah. So I think I want to live the next year or two without even thinking about children. I just want to give my best to the relationship, but I'm trying to figure out how best I could do that, right? How best I can be there for somebody else. Really, like you were saying about you becoming a foster parent, how do you give yourself over to somebody else? Things that you yourself were never given in the first place. How do you create and hold space for somebody such that even when they're not ready to discuss and engage on that level, you still hold that space such that when she's ready, you're able to engage. You know, it really isn't easy for me to find these resources that I don't have. Like you were saying, I'm building as I'm going, right? And it's only when I talk to people like you, I know that at least I'm not crazy. I'm not alone in this. Right. And to talk to real people, real, real people who are willing to engage and really stand in that truth like, okay, I've been through it and I'm still going through it. I'm not crazy. Ah, there was a second there that I thought I was going nuts, right? And I was having an existential crisis, man. Ah, it was horrible. Hopefully, we'll get through all these things when we talk on the podcast. Hopefully, you'll agree. And that's what I'm saying. You're talking about raping a 6-year-old kid. If you take it and put it aside, sexually assaulting a 6-year-old kid, I don't know any normal man who looks at a young child of 6 and is sexually attracted to them. There's nothing that could be sexually attractive about a 6-year-old. Nothing. And to know that there are those kinds of people out there, and I say those kinds, not like the way we say the Nazis are those kinds of people. It's like, what happened to you such that you think it's a good idea to lay down with a 6-year-old? And I'm not sure sending those kinds of people to the hangman or to prison works either, right? What could we do to stop producing those kinds of people in our society? It's insanity that in this day and age, it's like in Africa, there are these books that were written a long time ago that when an albino was born in society, they were ostracized and sent to the forest. Like, you're weird, you're all these things. You're not like one of us. Every time somebody does. And it's clear that the prison system isn't working, but people who deal with the prison systems are those who are in trouble. When we're at home comfortable watching TV, we think that's somebody else's problem. It really is all of us's problem. We can't keep producing child molesters. It doesn't work for anybody. It really can't. It tarnishes, it breaks a young child who will go throughout, yeah, go throughout the entire life dealing with terrible things, their whole life. It's our problem, yeah. I really, really do think that we need some of our best brains on this subject matter, and politicians can be sent to go solve these things. If I think Will Smith, I'm one of those fans of Will Smith. Uh, Will Smith said it when Hillary lost against Trump. He says, even the day before or the night of the election, every smart person that he had access to got it wrong. The smartest people, and he says, I have access to some of the smartest, most influential people. All of them got it wrong. You couple that with the whole coronavirus thing, like some of these people that we take their word for verbatim. We don't even second guess it or anything. They get things wrong. I hear a lot of people. I think Dave Chappelle says he was traveling small clubs, and as he was traveling around the country, he could see that there's something brewing in small town America. There's certainly something brewing. But anytime you go to a big city, you get into this bubble, you know, that says Hillary's gonna win, Hillary's gonna win. But you go to other towns, it's like nope. The message boards as well. That's where people felt safe to say, hey, they supported Trump. Yeah. Bread, hey, what's up? What's up, my friend? So I think so. Yeah, by a landslide. Oh, Trump supporters. I think that's why Republicans still go kiss the ring in Mar-a-Lago. Trump supporters are insatiable in their support for, and they'll devour everybody who says anything else. It's hilarious, right? So yeah, man, there are these atrocities that we inflict upon each other as human beings. It sounds like you have a good plan. There are these atrocities that we do, and nobody. I hear what you're saying, Lola. Nobody would like. Everybody would like a good family. Nobody. It's not fun to bury the living, like you're saying. It's not fun at all. It's not pleasant to go through some of these things. You know, one of the things that I like that Dr. Jordan Peterson taught me, it's very hard. You were saying that you interacted with somebody who had Parkinson's. Jordan Peterson was saying that his father-in-law was married to this other woman. The woman got one of those debilitating diseases like Parkinson's, and it was so rough. You know those long illnesses that takes 3 4 years taking care of your partner. Oh my goodness, it was so hard. She couldn't do anything for herself, and she needed him. What was that book? The climber got stuck, had to cut off his. Oh my goodness, yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness, was it? 24/7. What is it? It's a James Franco movie. What is it called? 47 Hours. I don't know. I can't remember. But I know the movie. Yes, 47 Hours, I think. Yeah. So Jordan Peterson said the gentleman moved in with the wife. They went to a home and, every day, painstakingly for 4 years, the guy did it. And after those 4 years, the woman died. A couple of months later, the old man was very old by then, got married to another lady in that same home, home for the elderly. And he still had pictures of his deceased wife out. You know, there was no pretense about it, no funny business about it. The love of his life was gone. But at least through dealing with that much pain, he was able to get something from it. And he too died with somebody. Yeah, making choices within the negatives, less of views. Yeah, you know, I think Frank Underwood, if you watch House of Cards, talked about it. There's useful pain and useless pain. Frank, just like Frank Underwood says, I hate useless pain. Like a car accident, it's terrible. There's nothing to learn from it, like gambling or something like that. Wasting a business. If your business fails and you really had a go at it, you learn something. So even through the pain, even through the loss, you get something out of it. Right? You have to salvage. That's the word I was looking for. Salvage value. So there has to be something that you come out of a terrible situation with. Right? Yeah, social pain and useless pain. Yeah. Right? There has to be something you come out of. So if you're taking care of somebody you've loved for your whole life, and they're forgetting your name, it's terrible for years and years and years and years. At the end of it, you end up with a good woman to share the rest of your life with. Again, you know, it's not the ideal thing, but at least you come out of it with something useful. Oh, so there are these things that we do to each other that, yeah. Oh man, I I grew up with a lot of my cousins. They were girls, so I may talk a lot.